A young boy with white hair and red eyes gets attacked, but his powers deflect the attack back at the attacker. Even when adults attack his tribe, he remains unhurt, realizing he's invincible. This boy grows up to be Accelerator, the strongest Esper in Academy City. Years later, Accelerator is seen leaving a store with groceries. Meanwhile, a girl who resembles Misaka Makoto is on a rooftop with a sniper rifle. She aims at Accelerator and fires. The bullet's reverse direction destroys the gun and injures her. She tries to escape but finds Accelerator waiting for her, smiling. In another scene, Tuma, a level 0 Esper, is trying to buy a drink from a vending machine. He uses a 2,000 yen bill, but the machine doesn't give him anything. Makoto, a level 5 Esper, shows up and kicks the machine, making it work. She then shows Tuma how to get his multiple drinks by sending electricity into the machine. An alarm goes off, and Tuma runs away. He sits on a bench, and Makoto approaches him with the drinks. They're interrupted by Kuroko, who introduces herself as Makoto's Kuhai. Makoto gets annoyed and zaps Kuroko with her electric powers. Tuma then meets another girl who looks like Makoto. She introduces herself as Misaka Imato, Makoto's sister. Makoto shows up and yells at her sister, who says she's there for research. Later, Tuma finds Misaka again trying to feed a stray cat. He decides to help her, and they go to a bookstore. Suddenly, Misaka senses Accelerator's presence. Shots are heard in an alley, and we see Misaka running, visibly afraid. She stops and fires bullets at Accelerator, but they fly back at her, hitting her shoulder. Accelerator leans forward, still unharmed. The girl shoots her gun in Accelerator's face, but the bullets stop and turn back towards her. She uses her gun as a shield and throws it at him before running. She then tries to use her electric powers on him, but it backfires, and she gets shocked instead. She realizes that Accelerator's power is to reflect vectors. However, he corrects her, stating his ability is to change vectors and reflection is its default setting. Accelerator then touches her open wound and mentions that he could reverse the flow of her blood, smiling as he offers her a chance for a peaceful end if she guesses correctly what would happen. Meanwhile, Tuma exits the bookstore feeling uneasy. He investigates an alley and finds a lone bloody shoe. Then he discovers Misaka Imato's body lying in a pool of blood. Horrified, he steps back, struggling to process the gruesome scene. The story then cuts to several members of Anti-Skill securing an area away from onlookers. Tuma sits on the ground despondent, with a cat he had left with the now-deceased girl. An Anti-Skill member asks Tuma to show them the crime scene. Tuma agrees and leads 2 Anti-Skill members to the location. However, there's no trace of blood. Puzzled, Tuma runs to the spot where he found Misaka's body but finds nothing. Suddenly, the cat alerts him and he runs in that direction, eventually finding a person with goggles that look like Misaka's. Tuma asks how she can be alive. She corrects him, saying she actually died. Tuma is shocked and asks what's in the large bag she's carrying. She doesn't answer but asks him to decode a password-like string of letters and numbers. She then says Tuma isn't part of the experiment. As he tries to figure out what's in the bag, he hears a familiar voice behind him. Another girl who looks like Makoto appears. Then more identical girls appear, each apologizing or explaining something different. The first girl apologizes for leaving the cat. The next says she didn't want to involve the animal. Another says she's sorry for worrying him. One after another, more of these identical girls appear, including the one with a large bag. Tuma learns from a girl who calls herself Misaka 10032 that she and others like her are clones made for military use. They share memories via their electric powers. Misaka 10032 says they're conducting an experiment but can't share details. She asks Tuma to care for the cat they had. Then she leaves with her clone sisters. Later, Tuma arrives at Tokiwadai Middle School dorms to find Makoto. A voice belonging to a girl named Kuruko tells him Makoto isn't home but he can wait inside. When he enters, Kuruko offers him a seat on her bed. Tuma asks why she's on Makoto's bed and if she's strange in some way. They hear footsteps, fearing it's the dorm supervisor. Kuroko tries to teleport Tuma out, but finds her powers don't work on him. She hides him under Makoto's bed. Under the bed, Tuma finds documents and a stuffed bear revealing important information about the clones and a plan to make Accelerator the strongest Esper, even stronger by promoting him to level 6. This upgrade requires him to fight and beat 20,000 clones based on Makoto. Armed, Tuma leaves, convinced he must find Makoto because she's key to what's happening with her clones. He notices wind turbines spinning without wind and decides to follow them, believing they'll lead him to Makoto. Makoto, a level 5 electromaster capable of generating electricity, is lost in thought on a bridge. She recalls how a doctor once told her that her electric abilities could offer hope to people unable to move their own limbs. She also remembers hearing rumors about clones made from her DNA being used for military purposes. These memories haunt her as she leans on the railing of the bridge, periodically releasing bursts of electricity. As she's pondering, Tuma appears. He tells her to stop what's going on, revealing that he knows about a secret project. According to documents he found in Makoto's room, the aim of this project is to make Accelerator, already the most potent psychic in Academy City, even more powerful by promoting him to level 6. This upgrade requires him to fight and beat 20,000 clones based on Makoto. Tuma accuses her of being part of this horrific experiment. Faced with this, Makoto admits that Tuma's dark suspicions are probably right. Makoto tells Tuma that she had been targeting facilities on the map to stop the experiment. But it doesn't work because new places keep popping up to continue the project. She thinks the board of directors knows and allows it. Makoto believes defeating Accelerator will stop the experiment. Tuma disagrees, saying she's not strong enough to beat him. Makoto decides to go face Accelerator, accepting she might die. Tuma blocks her way, refusing to let her go. Makoto attacks Tuma, knocking him down. She regrets hitting him, but Tuma gets back up, still refusing to let her pass. Makoto says she's responsible for the deaths of over 10,000 clones, calling herself a villain. Tuma insists she's not evil. In frustration, Makoto releases a powerful electrical burst. Tuma survives it, surprising her. She's moved to tears, realizing she can't go through with her plan. Meanwhile, a young girl in a school uniform walks alone through Academy City. On a still night, the scene shifts to a railway cargo area. A girl walks in stating her name is Misaka 10032 and talking about an experiment related to fighting Accelerator's reflection ability. Tuma wakes up, recalling how he took Makoto's electrical attack without using his right hand to block it. No one's on the bridge, but then he realizes Makoto is above him, crying and worried about him. Tuma tells Makoto he's figured out how to stop the experiments. He says if Accelerator isn't really the strongest in Academy City, there's no reason to continue the tests. Makoto argues that even if she beats Accelerator, researchers will see it as a fluke. Tuma decides he'll be the one to fight Accelerator despite being only a level 0. Makoto protests, saying it's impossible due to Accelerator's abilities and Tuma's injuries. Tuma shrugs it off, asking for Accelerator's location. Back in the railway cargo area, Misaka 10032 hears a familiar voice calling her. Misaka 10032 looks up and sees Accelerator sitting on a shipping container, identifying her as his next test subject. Annoyed, he says he doesn't need to confirm anything for an experiment meant to make him stronger. Misaka 10032 asks why he wants more power when he's already the strongest. Accelerator replies that he wants a level of power that makes challenging him unthinkable. He jumps down, and they prepare to start the experiment. Meanwhile, Tuma rushes to find Accelerator, leaving Makoto and Kat on the bridge. Back in the cargo area, the experiment starts as Accelerator charges. On the bridge, Makoto feels restless but recalls Tuma's warning not to interfere. Despite this, she starts running toward Accelerator's location. Tuma arrives outside the cargo area and hears fighting inside. Misaka 10032 attacks Accelerator with electricity but has no effect. The battle pauses briefly as Accelerator catches his breath. He smells something in the air and looks up to see Misaka 10032 on top of a shipping container. Accelerator realizes that Misaka 10032 is using her powers to create ozone and deplete the air. Impressed by her cleverness, despite this, he closes the distance and uses his vector changing ability to knock her down. As she lies in pain, Accelerator looms over her and talks about defeating foes by altering momentum vectors, kicking her repeatedly. Just then Tuma arrives and orders Accelerator to step away from Misaka 10032. Irritated, Accelerator demonstrates his power by destroying a tower with a small rock. Unfazed, Tuma advances, catching Accelerator's interest. Misaka 10032, surprised to see Tuma, wonders why he's helping her when she's just one of many clones. Tuma retorts that he's there to save her because she's unique. Annoyed, Accelerator taunts Tuma for his hero-like words and ignores him. Tuma tries to attack, but Accelerator uses his power to create an explosion, throwing Tuma back, mocking his slowness. Accelerator proceeds to distort the metal of the nearby railway. Accelerator bends metal rails towards Tuma, who dodges them. A smoke screen forms from the impact of the rails, but Tuma remains unharmed. Suddenly, metal beams fall from above, creating a dust cloud that hides Tuma from view. Accelerator stands atop one of the beams, mocking Tuma's slowness. Accelerator then taps the ground, sending dirt and rock flying at Tuma, who falls. Approaching to finish him off, Accelerator raises his hand. Tuma deflects it with his right hand, leaving Accelerator stunned. In response, Accelerator angrily stomps the ground, creating another dust cloud and injuring Tuma. Accelerator tries to kick Tuma, who dodges. Tuma then starts to retreat from the area. Accelerator mentions that the containers likely had wheat flour in them, noting the danger of a dust explosion in the windless night. Realizing the imminent threat, Tuma runs just as Accelerator sets off a massive explosion. Tuma survives, and Accelerator, also unscathed, remarks that Tuma is the first person to bring him close to a near-death situation. Tuma remains silent. Tuma backs up to face Accelerator again. Accelerator boasts that he can control any force he touches, even threatening to destroy Tuma's veins and organs. As Accelerator lunges at him, Tuma punches him in the jaw, sending him flying. Tuma realizes his imagined breaker ability works against Accelerator. Accelerator tries to get up, claiming he's thrilled by the fight, but then angrily charges at Tuma again. Tuma dodges and lands several punches on his face. As Tuma goes for another punch, Accelerator uses his powers to jump high and retreat. Shaken, Accelerator tries to understand what's happening. Tuma mocks him for his supposed invincibility, pointing out that because Accelerator always ends fights quickly, he doesn't know how to handle a real fight. Angered, Accelerator uses his powers to bend the metal rails, lifting Tuma into the air. Tuma uses this to his advantage, launching himself to deliver another punch, knocking Accelerator into a stop sign. Approaching the fallen Accelerator, Tuma questions why he preys on Makoto's clones who are just trying to live their lives. Sitting on the ground, Accelerator laughs at Tuma's words and stands up, dismissing them as nonsense. He raises his arms for the next move. Accelerator starts making weird clicking and screeching noises, which turn into laughter. Wind gusts fill the area and blue energy forms above him. He sends this energy at Tuma, knocking him back, preparing another energy ball. Accelerator tells Tuma he's powerless and will finish him off. Just then, someone shouts Accelerator. Makoto arrives, ready to fire her railgun. Tuma asks her not to act, but Makoto says she wants to protect Tuma even if it's selfish. She prepares to fire, but realizes something's wrong. The energy ball Accelerator is forming as plasma made by compressing air. Makoto realizes her power won't work against it. Makoto remembers wind turbines moving on their own and realizes Accelerator is controlling the plasma with calculated wind flows. Hearing a cat meow, she finds an unconscious Misaka 10,032 and wakes her up, saying only she can help protect Tuma's dream. Back with Accelerator, he starts losing control of the plasma ball and wonders if he miscalculated. Sparks fly out of the wind turbines in the city. Accelerator realizes the wind is being artificially manipulated. He turns and sees Misaka 10,032, who he deduces tampered with the wind turbines to disrupt his control. In the city, several Misaka clones use their powers to spin wind turbines, disrupting Accelerator's control over the plasma ball. Furious, Accelerator aims to harm Misaka 10,032, but Makoto intervenes. Tuma steps in, dodging and blocking Accelerator's moves before delivering a decisive punch that sends him sprawling. Tuma wakes up in a hospital room with Misaka 10,032, who has been measuring his vitals by holding his hand against her chest. She can't rejoin the world yet and leaves, assuring Tuma they'll meet again. The next day, Tuma passes a medical checkup, but Makoto visits with a gift of fancy cookies. They talk about the ethics of the clone experiments. Makoto leaves, and Tuma is soon surprised by Index. She's concerned but also upset, prompting Tuma to apologize and admit he fought for his own reasons this time. Makoto returns to her dorm and is warmly welcomed by Kuroko. Misaka 10,032 feeds her cat and smiles as it licks her face. Thanks for watching.